Finally found what's been making that rubbing noise. It's that right there. So I'm just wanting to make sure that the axle is not bent, because watching the slow-mo footage of this thing jumping on that last jump, I could see the tires like bend out, the rear tires bend out, and it looks like the axle bent. But it doesn't look like it did. It may have flexed a little bit, but then, you know, sprung back, which is really good. I am going to grab my dial indicator and just indicate off of this surface right here, and possibly, I don't know how I'd do that on that side with the brake disc, but I just want to make sure this axle is not bent. Yeah, I'd say that's fine. I don't think it's bent. Alright, so this is basically how the front suspension is set up on the Ninja. This is how I had to do it because the engine's so big, the engine fits in this big crater right here, and I didn't really have that much space for front suspension. So basically, you can see why this one broke and this one didn't. It's because I had to bend these, therefore they never came in contact when the suspension moves around. And this one's bent up, this one's bent down, and this one bent because when you bend a piece of metal like this, it weakens it in this direction, but not this direction. Not that much. It weakens it a little bit, but not as much as this direction. So that's why this one bent, and this one bent a little bit, but not as bad as this one. And first place it bent was right here. That's why I had to cut it right here, and then weld this piece of tubing on there. And the second place it bent was this. It bent this a lot more. So basically how I'm going to fix it, at first I was thinking of, you know, rebuilding this whole thing, but looking at it, it's way too complicated. I don't have that much time. So I'm just going to fix it and then strengthen it. So how I'm going to do it is I'm going to cut all this off of here. This is already weakened. I need to lengthen these. So I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to bend this back. This one bent a little bit. I need to take a bunch of paint off of this whole thing so therefore I can weld on it. And I'm going to replace this, and I'm also going to double up the tubing on top and bottom, so therefore it's not just one piece of 1-inch tubing. So it's basically just going to be two pieces of tubing on top of each other, weld the crap out of it, and make sure it's strong enough. I'm also going to weld on longer pieces of this 3/4 inch tubing, so therefore it's going to be a whole lot. Basically, I'm just going to strengthen the crap out of it and just weld on a bunch more metal, so therefore it never bends again, hopefully. Yeah. If this doesn't work, I don't know what will. This actually looks pretty amazing. Kind of wish I did this in the first place, but you know, better late than never, I guess. So before painting this and finalizing this, I kind of want to reassemble this stuff back on the Ninja, put the tires back on, put the shocks back on, and just make sure everything lines up, make sure everything looks good, just before painting this and finalizing it. Alright, everything seems to be working, nothing's binding up, the tires seem to be perfectly straight up and down, there's no camber caster to it. So now, I did buy new shocks for this thing, they're the same length as the shocks that are on here now. The new shocks and those shocks that are on here now are 2.5 inches longer than the shocks that were on here previously. So it is going to sit a little bit taller, it's going to drive a little bit different, be a little bit more top heavy, but it should jump a little bit better. So there is good sides as well as downsides to longer shocks on this thing. Now, before painting the A-arms, I kind of want to take this thing outside and clean it. I'm going to pull my pressure washer out and get off all the dirt and grime off of this thing. Alright, so unfortunately, the second time the suspension collapsed, it did damage the engine a little bit. You can see where the bolt kind of, you know, hit up against the skid plate here, damaged this, but mainly it damaged the engine right here. I don't know if you guys can see it. If I zoom, oh boy, zoom out a little. Focus. Come on, you can do it. Come on, you stupid camera. Come on. There you go. If you can see right here, it doesn't look that bad, but there is a small crack right there, and it is slowly leaking oil a little bit. It's not that fast of a leak, but it is fast enough to leave a little puddle of oil underneath this engine every time I leave it overnight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drain the oil so it stops leaking. This thing needs an oil change anyway. I'm going to drain the oil, clean this, take all the paint off, and I'm going to try and JB weld over this. It doesn't have to be structural. All it really has to do is just stop this from leaking. So I'm hoping that JB weld will work. I think it will. Alright, so it's a couple days later, and the new shocks that I ordered finally got here. I don't know if I've already said it, but I did buy new shocks for the Ninja. Spent a little bit of money, and bought some off-roading shocks for this thing. These have, like, adjustable something. I don't really know what these do yet, but you can adjust, like, you can adjust the preload, and then you can adjust the dampening with one of the, I don't know, I'll figure it out later. Now, you can definitely tell the height difference between the new shocks and the old shocks. The whole reason behind using these smaller shocks is because I didn't really build the Ninja for jumping or for serious off-roading. I mainly just built it just to go fast. So, I use these smaller, shorter shocks from Go Power Sports just because I wanted the lower center of gravity. I wanted it to be shorter and go around corners really fast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a pair of these smaller shocks from Go Power Sports and these shocks. So therefore, whenever we want to take it off-roading or jumping, we'll put these shocks on. Whenever we want to race it or drive it fast, we'll put these on to lower the center of gravity and be able to go around corners faster. So anyway, let's install the new shocks and see what they look like on the Ninja. Well, it definitely makes this thing stand a lot taller, which I'm not really sure if I like or not. It makes it look more like a monster truck, but I'm not sure if it's going to affect the feeling of driving it, because the thing already felt top-heavy, and now that it's even higher off the ground, it's probably going to feel even more top-heavy. And, but I don't know, I can't really say it that I don't like these or not, just because I haven't really taken this thing off-road yet and really tested these new shocks. So I can't say that I don't like them, but right now, I'm not ruling out the previous shocks, putting those back on here, but I definitely need to test this thing before doing that. So they feel pretty fine. They're a little on the stiff side, but yeah, they definitely feel like they can take a lot of abuse. I think these are going to be perfect for jumping, just not really for racing or really driving this thing around. Anyway, this video is long enough. I need to end this video here. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see ya in the next video. Woo! Come on! You turd. Come on! Why does all my stuff not run right? Maybe because I leave it outside.
Oh, come on. You can do it. Stay alive. I just need to hold the handle down. Come on. You can do it. Come on.